of the Banter with Richie B and Mojo, world famous podcast. Coming to you live from Cobble Mountain Researchers and Investigations all day long, bringing a focus on cast you want to be part of.
Who wrote that? Who wrote that?
Jim did.
What's happening now?
I wasn't going to blame him, but he already has his hand up.
My name's Bridgewater. They call me Richie B. I guess because it's easy at Tinsley. Keep it down. You go in the backward class and play that stuff, okay? This is my good friend who's now co-host of the podcast.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Again? I told you to get that checked out.
Listen, during our time, you have to wear the pants down, all right? You get the whole.
You already know that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's been here before.
Yeah, it's true.
And this is...
I am the Wojo. Nice to meet you all. Thank you for having us here.
Now, his nickname he had since high school, so it's not fair, really. Mine's fairly new. But I guess the story starts out with my backyard in the Bridgewater Triangle in southeastern Massachusetts. And for years, I was hearing these noises out back. So to give you a little idea, I own 3 acres of land that abuts 94 acres of conservation, and about a mile out is what's called the Taunton River. And I would be out in my yard working and whatever, and I would hear walking around. Okay, that can happen, right? It could be a person. But after a while, it was a lot of walking, a lot of things breaking, stuff like that. But I also know that houses go this way and houses go this way. There's only one way in unless you got a kayak. So I'm starting to put this stuff together, right? It's starting to roll through my head. So I'll keep doing yard work, whatever it might be, and then all of a sudden I hear a louder, like a break. Like, oh wow, that sounds big, whatever that was. But it was off in a distance. And then it was repetitive, over and over again. And I get more curious where now I'm over by my fence, so I'm just kind of looking up, because I have an acre of land fenced in. Then the other 2 acres on the other side. So I'm kind of looking off, looking like this. Well, all this was question marks for me, where I was just trying to wonder what was happening. And then, to speed it up a little bit, it was about 10 o'clock at night. I'm out by the fire, and I hear something walking around in pitch black. I'm now looking for a headlamp, like who the hell's approaching my house from the back? There's no houses out there, right? Somebody's got bad intentions, I'm gonna get them, And it got louder and bigger, and I kept hearing it, and then I remember I go, all right, and I don't usually douse a fire. I sit there till it's safe to go in, right? Let it all burn out. I doused that fire. I went in and I was on the couch till like 2 in the morning, and I'm going over and over in my head, like, what was that noise? Why is somebody walking around in the pitch black out there? That's crazy, right? But there was no headlamp. There was no flashlight. So now I'm going up a level, right? Now I'm headed in a different. Now I'm not sitting there going picking Bigfoot. I was an enthusiast. I believe in everything as far as paranormal goes. I was a paranormal investigator for a decade or so, and then I stopped because I was afraid to take something home with me. And so it didn't really compute, but it was making it so it was curious, right? Oddities. And then 2 o'clock in an afternoon in October, I'm raking around my fire pit. And I'm just over here raking like this. And now I have a game trail. It goes out, opens to a big circle almost, right? Wide open. After that, good luck. It's swamplands, it's briars, it's small trees, saplings everywhere, tough to manage getting through. But there's this like 12-foot thicket right between the game trail and me and that circle I just mentioned. And as I'm raking, I hear one pull, and I got pictures of it and everything else, but of the tree. But at one pull, I heard this loud, go through your body, shake your DNA, kind of, like 75 yards from you. And I remember I was doing this, and I heard it break. And I looked up like that, and the tree's probably like 50 feet up. It's tall. It ended up being like 10 to 12 inches around elm. And that thing came crashing down at 60 miles an hour, not a cloud in the sky, not a wind blowing, piece of wind blowing, nothing. Boom, pulls it down like this. And I just froze, because now all this stuff has been going on. I'm a little irritated. I'm trying to get yard work done. And I walk up to my fence, I pull out my phone, I go, come on, where are you at? Like now I'm like, kind of being a jerk. I was a little upset, because it freaked me out. I was scared, And all I had was a little fence between me and it. And I watched that tree come down, that thing was fresh as a daisy, ripped right down. So I held up my phone and said, come on, where you at? And I hear this, and it's on my phone, it's muffled because it can't, goes to your phone. it growled at me through the thicket. It was like a projection of it, like thrown at me. And at first you get this weird man gene, right? You know, dumb man gene makes you do dumb shit. So here I am, I'm over here like, yes, that is your land, this is mine, we will respect each other, right? And I go, and then all of a sudden it hits me, because I was raised by my mother. I was like, what the hell are you doing, stupid? I can't see it can see me. Does it ground right at me? Oh, hi, sorry, you still there? So it projected its voice right at me, so I knew he was focused on me. So I stopped backing up, and I got to about the middle of the 1 acre that was my lawn. And I remember I just put my hands on, I was just like this. And I gotta be honest with you, this is where you know, novice turned to researcher. My life was changed at that very moment. Because I put something intelligent and physical, guttural, with all those things I had been hearing. All those breaks, all that walking, all the odd times a day, right? I could now hear a voice. That thing had a voice. And it was aimed at me. And I went over that video, I have it up on my YouTube and everything. You can enlarge it, make it anything, you can't see him. I can't see him, but he could see me. So that's where it kind of took off for me, where I started going, oh, maybe it's Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, that, he breaks trees, that's what I heard, you know? So I started becoming a researcher through the television. Local guys, like Alex Petticoff, I watched through his camera as he roamed around, you know, Alaska and British Columbia. And I was just looking, I just wanted his camera. I didn't need his opinions, thoughts, or anything. I just wanted to see his camera. Look through his camera. Look at that tree over there, you know what I mean? He might have seen something that I would see differently, you know? And then things took off, and I know Wojo, like, what, they're almost 30 years, like 20-something years playing softball and stuff, and I came in 2022, and I always mention him because he's my inspiration. My son Jack was stillborn, and I couldn't get out of bed for like 6 months. And I just remember hearing, like, Dad, get up. Like, tell your story. Just tell your story. Just tell everybody what you went, what you experienced. Because I became so passionate about this. Like, every day was all about Bigfoot. Every day was all about finding out something else. Every day was, I'm calling people trying to get advice. I started a gifted stuff. I got a piece of lichen back. I'm like, where did that lichen come from? Why is there a piece of lichen? Wait, where my cookies go? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, everything was all about Bigfoot. So I got up, and the best therapy I could have, I called a friend of mine who's my executive producer now, and I said, I want to start a podcast. And she's like, I've been waiting for this phone call, you're perfect for this, you know? And next thing you know, there was green screens at my house, computers, there's a web page, there's all kinds of things, right? So we get going with that, and we start talking. So I come out, what I say is the Bigfoot closet, and start telling everybody, this is what happened to me. And my son Jack has now inspired me from heaven, and I don't care what you think about me, you can't ridicule me enough to give me that pain back. So you can't touch me, I'm bulletproof now. So I didn't care what you thought about me anymore. And I told my story, and I showed him my pictures, and people started showing up, and this dude is over here, I'm like, oh, there's that dude Wojo I play ball with, he's asking questions. He's constantly in there, right, asking me questions, right? And then you tell him, so when he came into the picture, I was supposed to go on an investigation in Central Mass with some friends of mine, North Central Mass. And my executive producer was supposed to go with me. But her and her son came down with COVID. And then I remember him, because I knew him, so I knew I was going to be safe in the woods. He wasn't going to kill me or anything. Didn't want to just ask a rando to come with me. I learned that from the girls, right? So I was like, dude, tell them where you were. Where were you? Be honest, you were playing cards and you were drunk, out of your damn mind, and I called you to go Bigfoot.
Time out. Alright, first of all, second, you're taking away my oxygen. Hold on.
That's impossible.
That's a lot of oxygen.
Yeah. So as Richie said, yes, we have been friends for 30 years, but we're only associate friends. We played ball together.
I didn't like him very much.
Yeah, exactly. So we played ball together, with and against, and so now I noticed there's a podcast. So I had Richie's number, and I'm like, what the hell am I watching? Why is he, Channel 4's on here? What? So I gave him a call, and I go, Richie, what is going on with this podcast that we got going on? He's like, hey, I got Bigfoot in my backyard. I go, what? So, me, I'm an avid hunter, love being out in the woods, God bless my father, because that's all I did. My brothers, my father, and we've been all around New England. And, well, I've always believed. I would say
drunk cars, the drunk cars.
Also, I am gonna get to that. So,
Stop with that.
yeah. I just want to make you sweat. That's how I roll. Sorry.
I'm Italian, though.
I'm happy.
We got a full 45 minutes.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, we just extended that.
So,
Quiet,
so you know, being an avid woodsman and what have you, but I've always like been interested in the Bigfoot, the UFOs, and paranormal. But I was like a borderline skeptic. So now I called Richie up, and yeah, I had a couple beers, and I was playing cards. And I'm looking and I go, what the frick is this? And I call him up, and he's like, yeah, I got a Bigfoot in my backyard. I go, you got what? He goes, yeah, I got a Bigfoot. He goes, I go, I like to, like, you know, check it out sometime, whatever. But so after that quick conversation, phone call rings again tomorrow. The next day, calls me. He's like, hey, my executive producer just got sick. Would you like to go on an investigation out in Central Mass? Yeah, I want to see what you're seeing. Yeah, so I was all excited, and I went out.
I didn't think you were at a show because I thought you were too drunk. You were gonna take it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was hungover.
That was cool.
That was a rough day. But anyways, and by the way, I did win. So
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. So now we go to Central Mass, and I don't know what to expect. So, but it's great to be back in the woods again because I haven't been in the woods since my father's passing at the time. So now, being in the woods, we're with two friends of ours, Patty and Walter, and I'm just walking around and trying to find out, all right, why are we here? And all of a sudden I started seeing like strange structures, twisty, I call them twisties. That's when the tree is, you know, twisted and angled at a 90-degree angle. I just found that strange because we split up. You with Patty, I was with Walter, and towards these power lines, I'm seeing one after another, and I'm on the radio with him. I go, dude, you gotta see like, you know, what I'm seeing here. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I got it over here. Richie's like 30 yards away. So he has one over here. I got one over here, and it had to be a total of 6 to 8 of them. And I've never seen a highway of deer tracks in my life. And as we're walking, then I'm looking around, so you got all these boulders, you got like pine trees, so I'm like saying, you know, we're having this conversation, I go, it seems like a choke point or something, or an ambush. He goes, ah. I go, what do you mean? I goes, yeah, go on, and I'm just speaking my mind. Yes, so speaking your mind. And so now we go further in the woods, and we're talking, you know, Richie just going away, and I'm being observant of what am I here for. And then I just see these limp trees, these pine trees limped over, and I'm like, geez, I've never seen that before. And then Richie's talking, and he looks over, and he goes, hey, what's that? I go, ha! I go, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm already jumping in the woods, because he's seeing the same thing, it's that reaction. And as we approach, we just see like the pine trees, the limb trees connecting into a hut, into a forum, like pretty much connected, or like a hotel.
Yeah, like a condo.
And I'm saying to myself, what the hell is this? And you know, we're like 2 miles into nowhere, no man's land.
Yeah.
So Richie has what you call Scaniverse, and it's free on your phones. It's an app where it does the 3D rendering of the depth.
Whatever you see.
Yeah, whatever you see.
It could be a house, it could be a print, it could be a structure.
And these structures are like, I don't know, approximately like 6, 8 or something
They
like
were
that.
6 feet, 9 feet long, 6 feet deep.
6 feet,
And almost
yeah.
2 feet.
Yeah, you can see
In the
the
ground.
indentation, whatever, and
I didn't scan the Indian.
it was fascinating because we're all like weirded out. We're seeing like these huts, and I'm like, who the hell made these huts? And so he's in there, like fully comfortable, like laying down like Ron Jeremy, going, yeah, this is fine. And yeah, he's in there,
I tend to jerk
and he's
off.
in there doing the 3D, and he's showing me this app, and I just couldn't believe it. Like something was there in here.
Yep.
So now with the pine trees, they keep the weight on it. They're not breaking the branches; they're just pulling it from its socket. And I never seen such force. Like, what would do that? And all of them were like that, just pull right out. And so So now we're walking around, and then I found a deer shed nearby, and then we heard a knock later on.
Yeah.
So
It's
now,
quite an adventure for your first time.
so now I'm like saying to myself, what the hell am I into? And that's when I fell into the rabbit hole. And I've been out with him ever since. And I don't recall not one. And we go out like 2 or 3 times a week. If I found a bad investigation, we always find something.
Well, we learned something.
Well, and learn exactly.
Learning's key.
And I'll tell you, it's quite the ride of what we're seeing. And you go next.
Yeah, no, in between that, when I first decided to start talking about it, I reached out to a friend of mine who lives up in Vermont now, and he was known within the Bigfoot community of having communications with Sasquatch with a bag of cherries and a bamboo patch out by the prison in Bridgewater. Crazy, right? And I thought he was freaking nuts. And I'm calling him going, hey, crazy dude? What do I do? And he's one who taught me how to, who told me to do gift and stuff, you know? Then, like I said, I started watching the documentaries. And then I called, we had Mr. Dave McCullough come out and do an investigation with the BFRO, right, Dave? He was the first one on my property. Well, Kristen was first, and then she brought you on. And Kristen was is an expert of the Bridgewater Triangle and an author and all that, folklorist. And she brought Dave on, so I had to build up trust with people. Because I didn't, for one, it was weird because it wasn't just about my children growing up there. It was about them. And that's what I've always told people. There's something there that I feel a connection with, that I respect them. You know what I mean? Sasquatch. You know, I respect their land. What they want. First, I thought they were gonna kill me because I got flanked twice. That was scary. But they didn't kill me, and I was perplexed by that. You know, I literally went out of my woods one day like this. Okay. And then one time, and it's always out here, and the other point of the triangle. I always tell everybody that. And this one time, I had one here, and somebody else was the point of the triangle, and I had a problem with that. Because you can hear them when they kind of shuffle a little bit, or they nestle, I say. And I could hear them moving, and I remember yelling with my hands up, and I said, hey, I'm backing out. But he's got to move. And sure enough, I heard him moving. I'm like, what? They know what I said? Like, wait, like that was another. So my point to that is, as these things happen, you learn, and your research evolves, and you evolve as a believer, a knower, or whatever you want to call it. And I think the most profound incident I had was with Dave McCullough. We were standing there leaving after doing an investigation together, and I kept doing that formation. I kept holding my arms out going, I'm hearing something, right? And this guy's at my house, and I'm going, he's gonna think I'm that Bigfoot guy. You know that guy, everybody has one of those. Bigfoot did it, you know, everything's Bigfoot. And I didn't want to be that guy, but I heard what I heard. And I kept doing this, and we finally get out, and we're standing there, and I think we took our backpacks off, and we're sitting here talking, and Kristen's here, Dave's here, I'm here, and he goes, what kind of duck is that? Remember that? Yep. He goes, what kind of duck is that? And I go, it's the forest, bro, ain't no ducks in the forest. I've on this property since 02, I ain't seen one duck in the forest, right?
Hold on, wood ducks.
Right, remember that? I got it now. So thank you. But so when he said that, I was like, duck, what duck? And all of a sudden it started. There was one on the right, and that setup that I had with my arms, and you hear, something like that, right? I can't do it exactly. I'm not a Bigfoot. But that's what it did, right? And then the other one on the left responded, and he was bigger. It seemed like he was like, had a more of a guttural, deeper sound. And he went back at the other one, was like, and I went, yo, is that the Sierra Sounds? And I'm looking at Dave, and he didn't even move. Like he's a seasoned veteran. He's standing there like this. Like, shut up, kid, I'm trying to listen. You know what I mean? And I'm over here going, that's the Sierra Sounds, isn't it? You know? And, right? I kept, isn't it? You know? And then it did it once, and then the first one picked back up. And he said something else. And then when he got done, this is what was crazy. When that guy picked back up, and when he got done with his sentence, what I now know as a researcher who's evolved more was more of a chest pop, not a tree knock. Because where he was located was bushes. So I know he didn't have the perfect stick and the perfect tree to work with. I believed in the Jane Goodall theory, right? You try to learn by their behaviors, right? So I believe when the first one ended, a big pop came out. And then as soon as that pop ended, that guy picked back up to our left. Whatever you were saying. And then when he finished, he did a chest pop back. Just like that. And me and Dave are standing, right? And Dave goes, I think it's time for us to leave. Yeah, that's what chest bump means apparently, everybody. If you're wondering, get the hell out. so I left, and I turned around like I always did whenever I had an experience. Or not even. I would walk out in the morning, I'd wave to the woods, and neighbors like, shoot, and pulling the shades, here's idiot again. And I'm like, hey, how you guys doing today? You know. So I got done. I go, thank you for that. Appreciate that. I was fired up, you know. And I think my trainer was out front with some casts in the driveway that day. This was 2021. So, and Dave said to me something that became very profound for me as a researcher because I didn't understand what the hell the dude meant. He says, I think they're here because of you.
Do you
Right?
going
He
back
said that to me.
on,
And
podcast after
yeah,
this?
and that taught me
And
so
then
much as a
later on,
researcher on how to go forward and continue my research. That it wasn't, they were here because of me because I respected them. But because I treated them like one of us. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand that at first. I go to bed and I gotta smoke a ton of weed.
Yes,
I don't know what the
yes.
hell he meant by that. But it
Oh,
made
we
me a
are.
better researcher, that statement, and I thank you for that. I never get a chance to say that to you. So, but yeah, then we started in my backyard. I brought you out there.
Yeah.
And I was showing him all the crazy stuff. And he became a kick-ass researcher like that. And we started using the map and jumping around, tell him.
Yeah, we started jumping around, and then we started seeing like, you know, showing like the strange structures and whatever, and I just kind of dug down and go, hey, you know, I always start from the bottom up, like, why is this like doing this, you know, twisties and X's and all that, and what's so like phenomenal is that there's no scuff marks on these trees, you know, it's not like, you know, the weather made it limp like that, because you're talking, you know, approximately like 8 inches or more, up to like, you know, I think I measured for like 16 in diameter, making these crazy wraparounds out of trees. So in the course of being in that area and other areas, you know, now I started hearing tree knocks, I started hearing rock clacking, we also, then you started seeing prints.
Yep.
So now I'm kind of like, wow, this is like.
And then you got flanked, that was fun.
And then we get flanked. So he decides to play like, you know, Bigfoot howl.
Hello,
Or a
Sam.
howl. He's like, whoa! And then he does a tree knock. Boom! Across the way now, it's cold out, and all of a sudden, boom! Back. I'm like, what the?
0 degrees across
0
the-
degrees, and then all of a sudden something crashed. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I still get goosebumps talking about it. Something just crashed. It's just like the sound of high mass of trees just breaking. I'm like, what the frig is over here? You know? And so that was like one of our few, beginning of the bluff charging part.
You gotta get
So,
to that.
so now we also, I've learned is the skunk smell. There's skunk cabbage in this area and what have you. And I remember like walking around, I'm like, what is that freaking disgusting smell? It smells like just bad urine, whatever else that's involved. It's just nasty. And it was just off and on of the whole investigation. So now I'm gonna skip down to where he came, another investigation months later. We come back into his place again, and I found a possible footprint. I'm like, do you feel the toes? Yeah. So I decided to validate and walked away about 20 feet and try to find other tracks. And he's going, hey, deer smell.
Yeah, that means deer smell, just so you know.
Yeah.
After the A's have been something
That nasty,
different.
the nasty urine that you clean, you know, yeah, cocaine, that's what it
Yeah.
is, yeah. So now, so I go, I'm walking towards him, I go, I don't smell anything, as I walk towards him, he's like, on his hands and knees, it's gone. I go, what do you mean it's gone? It's gone. So I'm looking around, now we have a very thick patch over here, but everything this way is wide open. So we were planning on going down towards the river, and I go, what do you want to do? You want to just head into the woods or go down the river? He goes, no, let's go in the woods. I'm like, all right. So I think like maybe 30 seconds walk in, and all of a sudden
I smelled it again.
it just yeah, it just melted again. The tree line was shaking, high breakage. I mean, I spooked moose before, but this was something totally different. Total like high energy, and you could hear the heavy footsteps. There was like 4 steps, boom, boom. Because I'm ahead of Richie, and I just stood there like, is this gonna come right out and I don't know, knock me down or something? And because again, tree line, then it just stopped, pin drop. I was like, he goes, did you see that? I thought I needed to change of clothes. I'm like, what do you think? I'm ahead of you. I'm like, oh shit, my pants. I'm like, what am I dealing with here? So
I don't think that's what I said. I said, what's that?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to.
I always say that. Like, what am I doing out there? And I still yell, what the fuck is that? It doesn't make any sense.
So we said, all right, what do you want to do? Let's just try to. If he's in there, let's
follow him in, right?
Just follow him in.
What did I say to you? What did I say to you when your face was? I go, now they're gonna come get him.
Yeah.
And he goes, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So I'm
And then what happened after I said that?
Oh,
The whistle.
The
The
whistle.
long whistle.
So
and I go, there they are.
So as we're walking, we can hear small snaps, but it's kind of like this way.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking in my mind because we have to go around through this like really thick stuff, and so I'm hearing like these small low snaps. I'm like, what is that? I can't see nothing. And then all of a sudden you hear this, just this loud
Forever.
whistle, and I sit there like, what the fuck is that? And I don't know. But then I always have my phone on my chest and, for audio visual, and I sent it to the Boulder brothers that whistle or whatever, and Eric goes, you better listen to that again, because when you hear that whistle, you hear the dogs, but at the end was the validation of like 2 small knocks.
Crystal.
Crystal.
You couldn't hear. It was weird. You couldn't hear him until he said that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's like an acknowledgement after the whistle.
Yeah, it was wild.
Like, you better go now, and
Well, it was just to distract us. So we're over here looking for the dude that just ran by us at
Exactly.
30 miles an hour, stopping, breaking stuff. And it's right at dusk, so you can barely see anything, but he's only 60 feet from us, and he's flying. And he goes and he just stops short like he says. And then there's nothing. And I'm like, how's a big creature like that just get silent? You know? And then I'm like, they're gonna come get him now, because he's cornered. Because I know my house is over there, and I know my neighbor's over here. Well, the weird thing was the dog just started barking, but it was 10 minutes after the thing ran through the woods. I'm like, why didn't it bark when it ran through the woods?
and the dogs were like about 300 yards away.
Right, but they started going off,
They
and then I
started
said,
going
they're
off.
gonna come get him, and then we heard the long whistle, and what do? What was that? Dude's over here like, he gone, you know what I mean? So that generally, and a lot of people that research, well, you get that distraction tactic. You know, that's what the flanking is for. So you get disorientated, you know what I mean? So, and these are things that we dealt with firsthand. That's not the only time that happened. It happened to us twice where it was really crazy like that, real scary.
Yeah.
And the second time was broad daylight, and it was off to my left, and I had my 14-year-old son out with me. He loves to go out with us watching, and that thing just ran through the woods, and all I could see is the black of his back, and the trees. It seemed like there was a technique to it. When he ran through the smaller trees, he was throwing things behind him, as if to cover himself while moving, which I thought was really odd. And I was on YouTube Live, so we do YouTube Lives constantly. Because I said, if I'm gonna do that, I don't wanna edit, I don't do none of that, I don't wanna, no offense to anybody that does, you do your thing, this is my thing. And when I'm out there, I'm live, and it's grainy, and it's crappy, and I swear a lot, and all that stuff, but you're gonna get what you're gonna get. If we see it, we're gonna see it together. And if we find it, we're gonna find it together, right? So that's what I believe. And then now we have a group of followers that they all wear their headphones, they all get buckled up and put on a big screen TV, and they're part of our investigation crew, they're virtual investigators. I even had an episode on the podcast about it. But it's essential, I think, the more people we get involved, the better chance we have, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
gatekeeping is not the way. Not sharing is not the way. Ridiculing a fellow researcher by the way he does something is not the way. You're only hurting this whole research field with that negative crap. So I have no problem sharing anything of mine. It's yours. We're all in this human race together. There's something out in the woods, right? A lot of us know it. And the only way to get to the bottom of it and understand them is to research them in the Jane Goodall way. I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to sit with a Bigfoot and go, "Oh, my name's Rich." You know what I mean? I don't know their temperament or demeanor, but she didn't know that either about the mountain gorillas, so who knows what's gonna happen, right? But my point is, the gatekeeping stuff has to stop. If you got something, talk to somebody about it. The ridicule's gotta stop. The more you ridicule, the more silence comes about. The more silence comes about, the less we get done.
Rich, sharing data is called science.
Yeah, you're a scientist, so I don't need to hear
Oh,
from
so I
you,
know.
Rich, okay? You feel like a witch in the church here? Tell us.
No, but the good thing is that talking about this and just like resourcing, asking the questions, and like especially like the you know, the tree structures and stuff. I have a friend that works for the forestry department down at the University of Georgia.
Yep.
So all he does is investigate invasive bugs.
I'm
all
good,
down-
thank you.
All throughout the, oh, thank you, I'm stopped.
We know.
So down at the south, and I would send him all these like strange pictures of what's going on. These hearts, these X's, these A's, these, I mean, just whatever, unnatural things that I'm seeing. And he goes, well, Joe, I don't know what's going on up in Mass. He goes, but I've never seen anything like that in my like 30 years of being out in the woods.
Yeah, and that's a prime example of going outside yourself and putting away your ego, right? I'm not a tree expert. I do know the magic whirlywinds hasn't made the things that I've seen. If you go on my YouTube, you'll see what we call a dream catcher. The 40-foot elm that's bent all the way down in a perfect upside down like rainbow, and it's held down by logs, and then it has all these different sticks sticking out. It looks like a wagon wheel, a dream catcher, whatever you want to call. And it's actually through my research trying to find out what the hell that thing was. After I was staring at it for about 20 minutes, so my knees got numb, going, what in the name that? And I looked up a book, it's called Field Guide to Sasquatch Structures by Christopher Noel of Vermont. And on the cover was exactly what was in my backyard. And then I started going through the book. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, we're all gonna die! You know what I mean? Like it just built up. You're like, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Other people knew. What was it? How do you get my backyard? You know what I mean? Obviously it's other places, right? So what we did was we got on the map after all this, we got kind of more of a team, right?
Yeah.
We trusted one another more. I trusted his methods and thoughts as a hunter and somebody that was learning, you know what I mean? And I was learning from him and he was learning from me. And then we opened up the map and we started following the activity. And people say, well, what's activity? This is Bigfoot, it's an unknown, you know, it's not science, right, Mr. Scientist? Right? So it's not, right? But that's what I love about, wait,
Methodology is scientific.
here we go. Why'd you have to get new stuff?
You know, it's just but you know, as a young researcher that I am, that doesn't, I mean, from what I'm encountering is,
Youngest in time research. Holy shit.
but anyways, you learn as you go. And we go out a lot every week, sometimes two to 3 times a week. And yeah, and the experiences is just so overwhelming. But does that make me an expert?
No,
Carry a weapon?
Say again?
Carry a weapon?
There has been weapons involved at night for other animals.
Yeah.
I mean, we do worry about other animals.
The coyotes we have.
Oh, we're not worried about coyotes, they can't beat us up.
They're.
You think anything out there can handle these guys? I don't think so. We'll leave
For the
them.
home of the gold.
That's right. No, but we hear the whoops, I mean, I'm hearing an experience of chatter, which is like, it's bizarre that we have audio.
You have a question?
I have a question for that.
The young lady, the little girl in the 6th grade back there.
I like young lady better, thank you. Now that you have
Did
further.
you stand up?
I am.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I took my boots off, so I lost that. Now that you've gone further, I have a serious.
That's
question.
Carlo
I'm being
Uzzi.
serious, this is it, this is all you get. Work with it.
Since you've gone further and further, do you listen to your old recordings and kind of pick up anything new now that you know what to listen for?
I have done that.
Yeah.
But what happens is we collect so much evidence now, it's hard to go back. But when I was just me, there was times I'd go back, because I did that in the paranormal world as well. I'd go back and listen to EVPs,
But now you
and
know
there'd be
listen
2
to
of
like
them.
a knock or a whistle and something
Yeah,
you have like
sometimes,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah, and you didn't know what it was even, right? And that's a great point, and that's something you can do as well, like Jessica Carlozzi just said, go back and re-listen to your evidence. Why not, right?
Like the
Give it to your friend to take home. I have people that are part of the team, boots on the ground, Bigfoot investigations, hand them a card. Go listen to that for me, please. Oh, you already did? Exactly.
Well,
I got ADD, I'm gonna mess
We
that
do
shit
have that,
up.
I mean, all right, so this one audio that we had, right, that we heard like, woo in the background. And then you hear like, I thought it sounded like a skipping or something. So in my truck, you know, I got my Bose system, I blare it up loud, so that I have the surround system, so I can really hear things crystal clear. And I just left this house, and as I'm leaving, I was like several miles down, he calls me, because he left his phone in my truck. And then I must have played that like maybe 6-7 times, and then I realized, you hear like a commercial playing, then you hear the frequency go high, and then it's woo, and then you hear the heavy footsteps, and one goes, whoa, ha, blah, blah. And we have a recorder, we have a gifting chair, and I know, I do, and then I jump around, I love the music. So anyways, so that's when I came to Richie, and just like backtrack on that, and
The gifted chair is what he's saying, referring to is, so when we started following the activity, and the activity to me is structures, period. You know, when you go and try to minus, I start at the top, and I work my percentages down, as far as it being Mother Nature, right? I put Mother Nature at 100%, right? That's what we all know, right? And then I walk away and I start minusing that, so it's, you know, kind of goes in your favor, or it doesn't, and you walk away. So there's some things that just can't be explained, right? Wind-wise and all that stuff. And knowing your research area. The Vogels weren't big on structures. I come up here, you guys got a 100-foot sailing. I don't have a 100-foot sailing where I'm from. It's a whole different world. And they got to see that by coming down and standing in what we call the college, and it's just shattered like pickup sticks. And they're like, what the hell is this?
different landscape.
Different landscape. So
Different
don't believe what's in front of you. You know, talk to people. Again, don't gatekeep. Share your research. Talk to others and learn the different geographical areas. So what we did is we jumped around the map and we were following these structures down the Taunton River. And we came to this place. And this place we came to, we've been in and we stayed. It's been over a year now. We've been pounding that one research area over and over, twice a week, 3 times a week, just pounding it, daytime, nighttime. And the results that we have gotten is absolutely insane, mind-blowing. To where we have the gifted chair. We found an old chair out there. Well, was like, hey, we should use this for gifts. So we did. And we give food. So if you're against that, please stand up and leave now. No, I'm just kidding. But there's controversy to that. It's not in my backyard. I'm not worried about it. And I look at it like this: if I was a Bigfoot, I'd want to try peanut butter too. You know what I mean? Peanut butter's really good. Yeah, good peanut butter. So we took the
Chunky or smooth?
always smooth.
Always
You don't want
smooth.
to piss them off with that rolled peanut. Hey, you know that one? Like a Dorito. Big ass. So you take the recorder. We have his earth magnet. We stick it underneath the old metal chair, and we stick it underneath there. And we put everything on top. The results that we have gotten, we put a battery pack on that. Yeah, we put a battery pack on that. It was 72 hours of recording that we got. We ended up with about 200 something altogether. But we've heard him walking around. We've heard him stop. We've heard him talk to the point where the Vogel brothers, right, helped us out with a linguist, right? And it came back with really good news, didn't it?
He did. The vocalizations that he was talking about initiate the initial vocalization, the verbiage, sounds sort of like a deaf person trying to communicate, someone who's never heard words, so they don't know how to properly shape the lips, to enunciate the letter or the word, and it sounds more of like a deaf person trying to
Mispronunciation.
that. And that was the key piece to that.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, right? So when we have that now, we actually use that because, like he just done earlier, they'll go, "What do you do?" Oh, back back, and that's what we do in the woods.
That's how they sound.
And we've gotten double taps back and things like that. So again, research, right? If you pick something up that you think, you send it off to a linguist and he says it's language, and you know you had it on a gifting chair, and you left the dude zingers and peanut butter and he ate them and he was there and you could hear him there opening things and eating things. And they're walking up to the chair chatting with each other, saying something. You think what you hear is a vocalization. You use it back, right? So that's what we do as humans. Hey, how you doing? What do you do? Don't be a family member because they're different. How you doing, sir? Right? Doing well. How are you? Right? same thing. That's the mentality and theory that we go with, and we've gotten great results from that. We do have peanut butter jars, and we take pictures of the gift and share. And we also have episodes on our podcast, Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. One of them's the journey of the gift and share, and the other one's the sounds of the gift and share. And I highly recommend you listen to those. They're really good, geared towards just us talking about evidence, showing evidence, sharing evidence. You can hear them walk around, right? We heard them, they had honey jars.
Yeah.
Remember they were tapping, you said?
Yeah.
You could hear them tapping what we think is the
It's
honey
like
jar.
putting it in the mouth, like, it sounded like, must have put it in his mouth, like, oh, hear that.
Hear that.
And then you,
Weird.
maybe like the nail,
Yeah.
is just tapping, trying to get that last drop.
And then,
And then he went, now, you watch like
it
cartoons.
was a go.
I've never heard an actual go from,
Yeah.
I don't know, human
Well,
or
it was-
whatever we're dealing with.
It was cool because we started playing it for people and not telling anybody what they were gonna hear. Like, what do you hear here? They're like, is that a gulp? Everybody said it, 100%, 10 out of 10. And that's how, another form of research, right?
Right, be large.
Well, that's why it was so loud too, because they had that big
Yeah,
trachea,
yeah.
and it was like,
And you're drinking
done
something
this
that's
over and over.
thick too, you know?
pardon me?
You've done this over and over.
Oh, we've been doing that same area with the sounds?
Same process.
Same process over and over. Yes,
And you've gotten results.
100%. It's
That's
science.
science again, repeatability of experiment.
But I think that's great. I think that's a good point hearing from a scientist that says that in a non-scientific field, supposedly, right? Because we don't get enough credit. We're just a bunch of loons out in the woods going, "Wee!" You know what I mean? Hitting trees, right?
Science is about process, it has nothing to do with theory.
Well, I agree with that, and I know that, but the majority of your community doesn't acknowledge that, correct?
The majority of my community are assholes.
Correct. That's why we hang out with one scientist that is not an asshole. Get yourself a scientist that is not an asshole, folks. That's what we have done. Matt Moniz is amazing. I hope you guys listened to him earlier. Into Bigfoot and everything, and he's always been very
No,
loyal with
but
that.
you should take the credit for doing the scientific process. People that don't understand the subject are easily thrown off by it because they don't understand, they don't want to understand. You're going through it in the appropriate manner.
Thank you.
If nobody else listens to it, you've still done it right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
And that's the point of not having an ego, because I've asked him for advice before, and I've asked other people for advice, and we talked to them.
And I still say you would look good in your future.
I know. Stay tuned for pics.
But also
On
too,
YouTube.
it's thinking outside the box, okay?
Yeah, do something
You're
different.
gonna do something different, no matter what.
No
It sounds as stupid as it sounds, right? And if you don't do it, what do you get? This. You get a big O, you get nothing.
But like you said, too,
But
data.
Exactly. And if you try something that's completely out of the box,
Yep.
you're gonna get 0.01%. You're gonna get something, possibly something out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but in like out of the box, like at the gifting chair, like we use flour. We try to
Because it's all compost, so
all
it's very hard to get
compost.
prints and
Try to get
we have
prints.
casted about 6 or 7 good prints out of it.
yeah.
But they hit the mud once in a while, but the compost around the gifted shit can be tough, so I come up with a theory, it's natural, let's try some flour, and sure enough, we can see clumps going off in that direction. I'm like, oh, maybe they live over there. You know what I mean? Little traces of it, if you track before as a hunter, you can follow little pieces of the white flour, so that, it was natural. I don't suggest using anything that isn't.
Sugar sand.
I ain't doing sugar sand, man.
Do you know what that is?
Oh, I don't know what that is. Why would I know what that is?
Finely ground sand.
Oh, thank you.
So, like any kids,
Yeah. We talked about that too, remember? We don't call it sugar sand, we call it sand from Home Depot.
Yeah.
We're not scientists.
Isn't that called playground sand?
But
Playground
the
sand.
one thing about the flour is that, whatever's out there is good. And you know what, when they walk into it, the heat that they draw, it sticks to their feet, including the leaves, because we're finding it about 100 yards away, in clumps like that. It's like holding on to Richie and just, trying to kick it off. Hit trees.
Yeah, see, I
So,
saw that tree.
But again, it's just thinking, outside of the box.
Zingers are outside the box, so we heard that they like raspberry donuts.
Yeah.
From friends of ours out in Kentucky, we're in, he's gonna be soon. So we went with raspberry, went with zingers, and lo and behold, the zinger wrappers are peeled open. And the food's gone. And they're not chewed, there's no little teeth marks, you gotta inspect these things and not just jump to conclusion, there's not claw marks, not teeth marks. It's torn open like you or I would do, torn open and eaten. And we've heard that on the recorder, we've heard them open it, we've heard them eating it.
Yeah, but remember,
Don't point at me, it's so rude.
but also like, when we set up the chair, we take pictures, we have.
Right, so we know
want that
everything.
branch and.
Brush things around?
Brush things around, so it's trying to, smooth out and hopefully like find some sort of footprints. But remember when he ate that zinger,
And brought
you
it
saw
up.
the two sets of prints that showed up.
Yes, but remember when he brought it to the log?
Oh.
And
That's
so he was
me,
putting
Big
white rocks
Andy
down
behind the
with him,
camera.
right, as
Beach
gifts?
rocks.
Yeah, beach rocks. So we go over, we follow, and we find the zinger over by the brook. And it sat on a log and had a big ass apparently, broke the log. And we were laughing, we were like, that should have sat down and blew out the log, right? But the zinger wrapper was right next to the broken log, and on top of the zinger wrapper was the white rock. So we carried it 80 yards, say? Let's say it's safe. I know, want me to throw you a football next time? We'll see if we can figure it out. Probably less, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then he goes out there, but either way, something carried that rock, right? I can't see a raccoon. And the rapper, right. So I can't see a raccoon putting a rock in his mouth and the rapper in his mouth. Correct. So that helped us, I was like, oh, I took that as a message. Yeah, it's me.
Find that rock.
Pardon me?
Where did you find that rock?
Where did I find that rock? On top of the zinger wrapper, by the,
On top of a piece of bark
yeah.
that stood out like a sore thumb to say,
Right.
hey, thank you, I was here,
Yep.
I mean, that's the possibilities that we're thinking.
And it was covered in like a weird mucus, so it's actually kept for DNA right now, but somebody came up with a theory about, that I was talking to, again, not gatekeeping research, right? What a cool theory. He goes, I think they put them in their mouth after they eat to clean their teeth. Like move the rock around, like swish it around. I don't know, it's kind of wild theory, right? I think that's one of the craziest things I've heard, as far as, it's brilliant. Because I told him it had like a thick
They don't
mucus.
have toothbrush.
Well, they don't, we should leave them on. So that gets us real quickly, we're running out of time, but to the peanut butter. So the peanut butter we put on, and we decided to see if they would use utensils, so we found a primitive utensil called a stick. And we put the stick on top of the glob of peanut butter, and lo and behold, the peanut butter jar was spun open. It wasn't, again, no claw marks, no teeth marks, nothing chewed through. It was on tight, it was unspun, and the stick was found near it with peanut butter stuck. And the cool thing about it was, when 2 a.m. you get that peanut butter out of the jar and nobody's looking, and you leave that little nasty glob on the spoon that's gross as hell. You know what I'm talking about? And then you just throw it in the sink because you're too tired and someone else finds it and it's gross and disgusting and they're mad at you.
Just you.
Okay. So yeah, that was on the stick. Yeah, you. That was on the stick. So they took it and they slid it like this. And the peanut butter was stuck on the stick. We have the stick, right? And not only that, we found more since then. This is the cool part of the stick. I'll explain with this, and we brought some stuff you guys can see and hold and all that. Some things you can't hold, but other things you can see and hold. Because we have stuff separated from DNA. This is for everybody to get the word out and share with you guys. Again, not gatekeeping. So you take the stick that we found. We couldn't find a stick forever. I'm like, damn, I gotta get this fool another stick. This is bullshit, right? So we get him another stick, right? Because that's what we get out of the forest. So we broke off another stick, right? So the second stick goes missing. Where the hell's the stick? Well, the chair is an old office chair, metal one, and it has that little half oval on the back cushion, right?
Kind of like this.
So that's nothing like hers. There's one up there that. That's a folder.
It's a folding chair, my bad.
So it has like, so anyway, so I look and I find the second stick. It's tucked in the back of the cushion. It's almost shaped like the cushion, right? And I look down and I see two sticks. I said, son of a bitch, there's the stick we couldn't find. He stuck both the sticks down, and that's a utility jar, the one that Stan goes into every morning at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
But how crazy is that, right? How crazy is that, right? That literally like, oh, I found a spot where it fit. So what we're doing here is learning their thought process. 2 a.m. comes, I'm on the headphones, right? I hear him walking, I hear him moving. And suddenly he goes silent, nothing, zero. 2 in the morning, I've been sitting here like this, like, just gonna do, like freaked out energy because of what I was hearing up to this point, dead silence. 20 minutes comes by, I'm like, I probably should go to sleep, man, this dude ain't doing, and then I went, wait, I never heard him leave. He never left. And then all of a sudden, I hear him pick up the zingers and stop tearing into them. And I went, holy shit. He sat there for 20 minutes. However many 100 pounds this person was, primitive human I call him, sat there for like 20 minutes and not made one damn peep, nothing. Scientifically, that tells us something about their demeanor, tells us something about their abilities, right? We're researching, we're being Jane Goodall, but we're not sitting with them, right? I know what they think like now. They can sit there for long periods of time, right? I can't sit 20 minutes near a singer. I don't know everybody else. I'm like, whoa!
Get it in my belly.
So, anyways, those are the types of things we're trying to learn as we're out in the woods. It's not always about running around slapping trees and screaming and all that stuff. There is nothing wrong with any of that, by the way. If you want to go out and howl in the woods, you go howl in the woods. You want to knock on a tree, you go knock on a tree. You want to go mark your territory and pee on a tree, I don't give a shit what it is. Nothing in this field is wrong, right? It's supposedly a non-scientific field, so how the hell can you tell me what I'm doing is right or wrong? Shut your mouth and just watch. Right? And then when you go do something, I'll shut my mouth and I'll watch. And then we might actually learn something. Isn't that crazy theory? Nuts, right? I mean, I know I'm crazy.
Well, how do you know there's no Bigfoot? Well, put these on,
Yeah.
you know,
and go for a walk.
And let's say Rick's saying, hey, you know, I've been having some strange encounters, whatever. Well, you know what? Don't shit on Rick just because he's got a story.
Sorry,
No,
Rick.
I'm just saying.
Shit on Rick.
I'm just saying that.
You know Rick?
Yeah. Oh, the best buddies. So, anyways, so anyways, my point is that just because it's Bigfoot, you shouldn't be like, oh, that's so wrong. There's no such thing. Just put your boots on, go out there with Rick, and just try to have an experience of what you know. What, like I did with Rich. I want to see what he's seen or what he's seen.
And I didn't show him nothing. By the way, when
Did not show me
no,
nothing.
I would walk up and be like this, and there you go, and then let him just go off on his own. If you got somebody that you're going to want to go out with, or you want to go out with somebody, hope it's that way. For me, it felt the right way because I wasn't leading him into something, right? I didn't tamper with the evidence that I had already discovered, right? I feel that if I go up there, you see it over here, it's over there, it's over there. You know, if I'm doing it, I'm tampering with that evidence, right? I'm gonna taint his thought, right? I don't want to do that. I want him to validate what I'm seeing, right? So he validated that whole blindness. Jesus, the scientists is so annoying. Looks like nobody likes you guys. Shut up!
And this is why we reach out to other people, you know, for ideas and, you know, resourcing, you know, especially like we had to think something different. All right, so Richie, you know, we want to see digits, you know, fingerprints, whatever. So, Tim's not here. So I talked to Tim Vogel. He goes, well, why don't you just grab some Vaseline?
Bag
Well, that's what I used, the bag bomb, okay, and I put a thick coating around it, and just to see if it can have digits, or might catch hair onto the jar.
You go. That dude smoked you though, yeah, he smoked. This is beautiful, beautiful research. No, finish the story. What did we get from that?
Oh, yeah, we definitely got, well, we did get a digit, but we also have hair.
That was stuck to it, right? So what happened next time we come back, right? We think we're onto something. Oh, we got him. Oh, we got him, right? We come back, and there's a peanut butter jar. Looks like crystal, like it just came out of the dishwasher.
Oh my God.
And I said to him, I start laughing at it because it's his experiment. I'm like, oh, they just smoked you, bro. And he's like, what? I said, dude, they washed it. There was not one piece of vagabond, nothing on
Nothing,
that.
never seen.
And he put it right back by the chair, like, ha ha.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did I laugh at you for like 20 minutes?
Jesus. You thought it ran into
Beautiful.
a dishwasher, you know, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay. Now, there's a creek nearby. There's a creek nearby. And he's probably like this, washing, taking a drink of water. We don't know.
Every
But
one of
he
them
came
is like
back,
that.
back to the chair, crystal clean. I'm like,
Yep.
son of a bitch.
Remember the clip we had in front of the chair? What did I do with it? I hung it on there like, that was a good one, bro.
Yeah.
So when he came back to the chair, he knew that we knew that he knew that I knew that we knew.
I know.
That was so
Their
cool.
intelligence is.
Your face
Oh,
dropped.
like I was like, oh, I give up. You know, these guys are like Elon Musk, naked with hair. You know, it's just their intelligence is second none. Because you try to, whenever you think you can trick them, believe me, they're a lot smarter than you. Believe me. And this gentleman once told me that if we're on that intelligence spectrum here, we're like an 11. Maybe the Dolphins, they're like a 13. What we're dealing with is in the 20s.
30s.
His name's Ernie Davio, and it's so true.
Yep.
Of what we're dealing with.
Yep.
That's why we keep thinking outside the box.
So that's why we talk to other people like an Ernie Davio.
It
Right?
builds
Have
this
that conversation,
relationship.
right? Have the conversation. Like me and Mike Timms have had many conversations about Sasquatch. Talking to people, meeting people like Gene and Matt. Matt's been monumental for me from basically the start that I've been doing this.
A good guy.
I'd be
good
glad
guy,
to
but-
show you
He is a
what
big
I
ass.
have.
You can see the heart.
But
But he's great, and he brings up unbelievable points. And to have somebody like that on your side that does have scientific background and he is a scientist with an open mind is absolutely priceless. And most researchers don't get that resource and opportunity.
Seriously, I've seen better science out of you guys than some of you.
Thanks, I feel a lot better about
Thanks,
myself.
that's
Well, that kind of sucks. It's like, my field sucks, but you're slightly better.
But see,
Scientists are 5 and you're a 5 1/4. You know? Thanks, dude. Love you, bro.
But see, having this discussion about what we're dealing with, this is what we are.
Yes.
This is having fun, having a discussion, because we're not gonna change.
You want questions?
I was gonna get to that.
You were?
Yeah, is there any more questions?
Tomorrow around noon?
Yeah.
Am I getting
Am I
questions?
supposed to tell you your time's up?
Yeah,
Well,
no.
that's what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
No,
gonna
our
say.
time's never up.
About their waste.
We're
You ever
supposed to
run
tell you
into
that we
their
own the
waste?
time.
Yeah,
What was that, sir?
There's their waste.
Poop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
run
we
you
pick
run
up the
into
things
it.
that we think is poop.
Okay.
It's just no way of eating it and tasting it and saying it's a Bigfoot. No, seriously, I'm being serious. Like,
I have a
no.
sister who has this on her property,
Excellent.
and she found a pile.
Yep.
She didn't know what it was. It had a reddish tint to it. She took a stick, opened it up, and it was lime green.
How do people do this?
I don't know.
He does this all the time. Every time he gets
Alright.
poop.
So, have you encountered anything as such?
We found, alright, so we found
It's your sister.
possibly,
My sister's
we
land,
found something
yes.
possible, and it was on a lot, and I remember measuring the lot, it was like about like 17 inches up. And there was poop right on the lot.
It was. It's a little long.
So, and I see that, you know, anyways, I grab the stick, and I'm just like picking away, and then he turns around, I'm like this, I'm like, he goes, and he started running, he goes, why are you doing, oh my God, why are you doing
I
that?
can't do poop or spit.
Oh,
I throw up. My mother's stomach.
So, I'm trying to like, I don't know, just what's in the air, I'm trying to understand, but then again, I just don't, I don't know, but it's something that landed like that, and it's 17 inches high, and I can't see it.
But
On a big tree, like, you know, we're talking, probably as wide as that, so what's,
Like on a stump.
all I'm saying is that I can't see a coyote doing that, deer, I
so
mean.
did your sister have access to get DNA testing or anything?
I-
Did she put it in the bag and freeze it?
I told her to, but she didn't.
No plastic bags.
She did
always
not,
paper.
no, she just let it.
I
And I'm
would
like,
suggest
so
double paper.
disappointed.
But no, I mean, there is
No,
questions
it's-
that we have out there as well. We have found a whole area that looked like, peat moss mixed with part of me diarrhea. And it was just everywhere. And then we found, we believe it was a deer belly, is that what it was? Remember the belly?
Yeah, something like that.
So something, you know, it looked like something got sick.
Well, the concern was the inside, the color of it. It was
Sorry,
so
what's
bizarre.
fruit roll-up.
It was.
But prior to that, we found a left and a right foot, it was like 17 by like 7 inches wide. And then there's like a tree over, and you can see the angle, so I'm thinking, I'm looking at the tree, and I'm like,
Just water.
I don't think he just did this.
Okay.
Went under the tree.
Okay.
All of a sudden he went over there and just,
Ladies are here, nobody needs to see that.
and he just went boom, you know? Anybody else have any questions?
Anybody else have any questions? Because then we can open up the box and you guys can check out some things that, it's all theory, nobody's saying
I'm
it's
more than happy
scientific.
to try to show you guys some pictures that we're talking about too, on my phone.
Would you guys like that? or-
Yes,
The
open the
rain
box.
stopped, you wanna hang
Open the
out?
box.
Absolutely.
Right?
Open the box, open
Carlosi's
the
here.
box, open the box.
Carlosi's here!
That
Hey! Well, thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all Banter with Richie B. The podcast is every Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I just did a little bit. I'm going to go back and do it again. And we're going to be going to YouTube Live tonight out in these woods somewhere. That if you hit the notify button, Sorry, you gotta be this high to ride that high, girl. So, whatever. We have a history, okay?
Oh, you know I was there. You going out tomorrow?
I'm going somewhere special tomorrow, I heard. But if you hit the notify button, then you'll know when we're live in the woods. All right? And please join us and add to it. It's a virtual, live and the podcast. We want you to have headphones. We want you to be part of the investigation. I even did I had an episode of virtual, Panther Richie B's virtual investigators. And they all came on, people I've never met. I just know them from the side, and they were my guests. And we're all in it together, you know what I mean? So keep sharing. Come on over, we'll share this with you. Get all tapped in.
Hey, I wanna let you know that the food truck guy, he's trying to get closed, he's gonna start to close up, so
Yeah, don't shit on Rick.
turn around and if you want anything, now's the time to get it.
I still have my plate.
You should use it.
Oh my God.
I know what's going on there, bro. I know what's
Bad.
Hey, buddy.
Why do you keep on making me move?
Oh, you want with it? So nice meeting you. I got to ask her a question. I thought it was a very poignant question. I thought it was fun. Smart as shit, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, man. We'll see you. All right, so here we go. I'll explain as we go, right?
And then just when you said that, that's the first thing it reminded me of was that.
And this is why we constantly see like, you know, one plant.
Yeah.
Like, how come we don't see like traps?
Yeah.
You know? Mud is happening.
Yes, I got permission
Yeah.
from you, but I don't know about the signal. That's the only thing. I'm gonna have just video. I'll let you know.
Let me know.
Are you leaving tonight or tomorrow? Tonight?
Yeah, I don't have a pet sitter and shit like that. You've been buying me and my kids, leave them alone.
Respectful.
You experience so.
Oh, you got this.
So much.
I didn't even know that was here, bro.
Really try to cram everything all in such a short time.
I didn't even know that was here.
Yes.
I don't know why it's here.
everything.
It's all right.
We share everything. That's why
It's okay. We're okay.
You're sure? On our website.
Everything's okay.
That's why we share it out.
Everything's okay.
Worldwide, we have a big following in Japan. That's our biggest one. We have a lot of people from India.
So some of these I'll explain to you. We didn't. It wasn't like we brought all the big guns. You know what I mean? And the chances go travel and stuff. I'm nervous just with this stuff. You know what I mean?
People that have the same experience. We
Yeah.
share that because somebody. Like Gene just mentioned.
I don't know how to do that, Sparky.
Who's that? Who's talking?
Sparky says give Sam a wrench.
Oh, the new Sam needs a wrench?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll get on it. I'll get on it, Sparky.
Rich, you get on it.
So it's cool because we got friends from all over the country and in the world. We did a live the other day. It was like over 13,000 people, and they were like from India, Germany, France. It was, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I'm waiting for them to come take me away, bro. Like, lock me up. You're not supposed to know this stuff about Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get a big surprise to come to my house, see those high heels. It's good. I'll startle them boys. Don't you worry. I'm not scared. When things get tough, I go weird.
I'm sorry, I'm tired.
I think that's it right there. That's some of it right here. I can go through some more.
On the top.
Yeah, see this.
Have
Say it again.
You said you hunt, like search around and then right off the Ton River?
Part of the ton, yeah.
Is that down in town or up?
I won't give specifics because it's people's property there. But if you go like Bridgewater Triangle, so if you go like say Halifax, Bridgewater, like Middleborough, like in that area around there, it's just because we end up on people's property with permission. So I don't want to be like, go there. You won't get shot. You know what I mean?
We go to in the Ton.
I have an envelope.
We've had some
Crazy shit. You go to Hockomock?
Oh yeah.
You been in there? Yeah. That's badass.
We do like puck budgie gifts and everything.
Oh, you're doing the puck watches.
Yeah, we do with puck budgie.
I had an experience, I think, with one of those with Phil Anderson. I don't know if you know him, but he had a YouTube channel. He had such a crazy experience. They got rebaptized and never touched EVP reporter again. There was a little dude across the way at us, and he was, dude, it was.
I bought it. I bought his dead bell.
What's that?
I bought Phil's
The
dead bell.
Yeah, the dead bell was going. That place was crazy.
I have that
The place
one.
is scary. Yeah. All right. So I got. I'm sorry. Yeah. What the hell is you, the scientist over here, keeping an eye on me. So this here is not for the print side. So what happened was this is actually a hail. And the hail I have on a 3D rendering and peat moss. It's a terrible. I'm not very good at casting.
So you know they're.
They want you to be patient. I don't know if you know this. Probably not seemingly a patient guy. So this is basically what it was. But I just stripped it everywhere because it was in the peat moss, and I wanted to bring it all up. But I have a beautiful 3D rendering of this. It's Scaniverse is an amazing thing. But if you take this hail here, mine measures at 3 1/4 with my boot on. My boot heel is 3.25. This is over 7. So if you take your boot off and you do this to it, first you'll see how big that heel is. Who wants to do it, guys? Shoes off foot. Shoes off foot. You get shoes off foot. You get shoes off foot. I'll clap you. I'm not scared. I'm not. You think I'm playing this? I don't want your damn shoe. You gotta balance yourself. You got this. You ready? Watch it. Don't step on it. Don't put your heel over it. Go everybody. Get that leg up, girl.
Yeah, hold on, don't fall.
Look at
that.
See that? Look at the size of that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Did you see it?
You good? I helped you. You owe me.
Don't fall. Don't fall.
Is there ever beer here? So this one here,
Oh, here comes
this one's incredibly unique.
He was playing
So
with
we
his drone.
grade the subjects obviously by their foot size, right? So, like Audra was talking about 17 by 7. We have a 14 by 7, a 12 by 6, right? And now we're noticing the 8 by 3, which is this unit. Now you say that's within human realm. So again, the scientific world won't even discuss it with you, right? Want nothing to do with it. That's stupid. And I'll tell you why. Context is everything in this research field, right? Context is everything. What makes this so unique was wintertime. The swamp water that softened and something stepped in it. And we actually casted this in ice. So to have a little kid running around with a size 8 by 3, by the way, look at that here. Mine's 3 1/4. This little dude, right? Look at that, 3 inches. So this was taken out of the ice. Everything's documented on live YouTube. Everything is heavily documented. So I don't play around. I go live, and that's it. This is what we're doing. Mojo's over here with a torch melting around it to pull it out of the ice. It took us 2 days. There was no joke. It was during that real cold spell we had down in southeastern Mass. It was like 0 every day for like a week. It was horrible.
They claimed in my sister's backyard, the valley.
No.
I
we're
bet.
talking about-
Generally, you're not going to find one just hanging out by themselves. And if you do, I wouldn't hang around here. Yeah, no, and that's what you go by. We go by the print size. But this was taken at. Now look at this, right? I got all on white.
Why did I start?
So does anybody know the outstanding feature on that? Anybody tell me what's the outstanding feature on that?
Flat foot.
Close. Good. I think that's a good one. There's one distinct feature on that we all have here. Besides toes. There's one other one.
This right here.
No? I love this part. It's my favorite part of the day. How about you? Anything? You want to check it out? Come check it out. Tell me what stands out right there. It's a quiet one. It's a get it. Let me know when you give up. Raise your hands.
It doesn't have this. Curve to the
No?
inside.
Well, that's definitely one thing. Think of that. A little dude like that should have something, right?
Be a curve, yeah. And it's straight on this side.
It stands right out once you see it. I'm going to tell you. Look between this toe right here.
Oh, I was gonna go there.
You see that line?
Yes, I was like, see, I'm looking.
We all have that, right? We all don't. Do we all have that? We all have that line. It's like a fingerprint, right? In a sense. And your curve is different than the other person's curve, right? It's the same thing right here. And this, you got to keep in mind, was pulled out of ice. This is there's a true feature. There's nothing on the other side. So imagine this. This is the step. People, I have a hard time wondering. This is the step. It's in like this. You flip it over, and then you got your toe, your toe, your toe. You got a curve of the toe, See the curve?
Because the chair's right
He was
there.
gripping the ice, right? He was gripping the ice. You can see a little bit of a bend. You see the ball of the toe of the foot?
We also
And then,
have,
there's that line that we all
power
have.
pack.
Isn't that crazy? This is dental bone, not plaster Paris. Again, introduced by the Vogels to us. Because we share things, right? That's how we get better. So, pretty cool, right? That's my favorite. I love that one. That's the little dude. And the thing that comes with that is a video of a track run. Right? So get as much evidence as you possibly can, every angle that you can get it at. I busted out my 3D scanner, so I scanned it. And I scanned a couple other ones too. This is the most distinct one that we can get between the slush, you know, freezing up, right? And then when you, little trick, you put down the dental bone, you gotta sprinkle snow in it as it dries. So you sit there like this. Because you gotta keep the temperature from ruining anything underneath. So you gotta keep it level. Temperature so it doesn't heat up, right? So that's pretty cool, right? So you say, what are these, right? These are obviously bones. I'm from southeastern Mass. If there's a bear in my area, it's on the news, it's on Facebook, they name it Fluffy, they tell you where it's going, oh, there he goes, he's over by Cumberland Farms, and they're like, just leave the thing alone, you weirdo. But we don't have anything that shatters bones. And the reason why this is so significant to me as a researcher, I've found ambush huts on the side of game trails. Trees that were bent, and the trees that he was talking about were bent. They weren't broken. They're very bald. They look like, I always attribute to like, say you boil a carrot and you can move it. That's what the trees look like. And they get up underneath them, and this again a theory. And the game trail, the deer comes across, right? And one of the ways, again through research, I'm talking to others, we believe when he comes up the trail, they get that big old forearm and they snap their legs. Once the legs are snapped, we pick them up and carry them away. It's over, right? That would attest to that theory. So you say what this here is more like a raccoon getting calcium, right? Scrapes it and gets the calcium, right? There's no punctures with it, where something's biting it and tearing it and then making it snap, right? This is strictly force. Now the biggest thing about this is no marrow. It's one of the most nutritious things you could have in wilderness, right? Cleaned up. I even have one, I don't have it here, because again, anything that's related to that DNA that I'm gonna submit, I don't bring out, because I don't want it messed with, but it's kind of like this one, you can see this one here, it's picked out. So there's still marrow here, but it's picked out here. There's another one that's even wider and clearer than that. So there's no reason for any of these. Check it out, inspect it yourself. Any scrapes you see, like I said, this one's cool because there's really no scrapes on it, right? And you don't see any teeth marks with it. Written with the teeth over here was to break it. I don't know what the hell that's doing in there. That's my own. Never mind. So don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. So here's the zinger wrapper. You guys might want to check out.
One here, one here. Believe me, there's one here. There's another one over there.
There's a little piece of tape. You have to pull it out. You get these little tricks you learn. You stick the tape and you pull it out. So here's the zinger wrapper. And you can see, and again, this ain't submitted to DNA, but you can see how it's torn, right? And this one is kind of cool because you see how it's tucked up? This right here was, right here, I believe, was pushed up. Why would he do that? Clean it out.
Did you want to see this?
Crazy, right?
Oh, I've seen him.
Oh yeah, he's seen them all. Yeah, but thank you. So yeah, check it out. See how it's torn open, and you look. There's no little bite marks.
I'm in the woods.
No claw marks.
Oh,
This is like you arrive on a zinger, and you'll rip it open and eat. Not this guy, he's jacked. But if it was me, a little pudgy guy like myself, I'm like, you know, I don't actually even chew on it. But
Is it a thing to try to get prints off a piece
yeah,
of
so
something
again,
like
we
that?
have all this stuff separate. We have different areas. Like I don't carry it around. So I had to make a decision because I wanted to talk and teach and research and get knowledge back from you. Like you saying that, that's something that is a guy that gets out in the woods. I want to know that, right? There's people that haven't gotten out in the woods that said things to me so profound. I was like, geez,
We've done calls and
what's that?
we've done calls. We've played music. We've left
Yeah.
offerings.
I love doing the music.
Yeah.
We did the Ernie W that just left. He played the Native
American flute last
We
night.
did a didgeridoo one time, and we had activity around his car in early park.
Crazy,
Yeah,
right?
it was,
Just all about documentation. And again, don't be afraid to share it. A lot of people think you're going to keep it and be a millionaire or be famous. Nobody gives a shit who you are and you ain't making no money. We're having a conversation like humans. That's all we're doing. That's all it ends up to be. You know what I mean? And I'm all about them. I'm not about me. You know, I had something profound happen to me. And I associate it, like I said, with my son-in-law. So it gives me inspiration. It's very therapeutic for me to be out in the woods and discovering these things. And I just never even imagined I'd have a podcast. We ended up top 25% on Spotify worldwide. I didn't imagine that. My first year, I was like, look at this going, shit. You know what I mean? My friend, the producer, was right. I've been waiting for this call. You're perfect for this. And I'm like, I am? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know anything. Well, technology. But she's the technology. I get to act like an actor.
Right, cherry and Sasquatch.
Pretty cool, so right? Check it out. And this is the obviously the cardboard that it sits on, exactly as it's found, right? So you can almost see where they grab it, right? You see how spotless it is. Shiny clean. Now some of these I have for DNA. I have rubber gloves and all that paper bags.
All right, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoy the game. I'm like shitting myself like look at it.
Oh, don't put your name. I try not to move things like whop. You're probably gonna smell it for a week. You smell it? So, it's weird, right? It smells like breath. You want to smell some breath over there? What's wrong with that? Right? So now if you're out doing something, you do this and find out, and you have that same smell, you and I just improve this whole research area. Right. So, okay, that's why we share. But it smells like breath. You want to smell it again? We love smelling it. Weirdo. Hi everybody! My peeps. So here, I'll do one more thing, and then the peanut butter real quick.
Now, have you ever tied anything with like sighting areas to do with like old remnants of Native Americans? There's a lot of areas.
There's a lot of connection between them in general with
like
Native Americans.
We've followed the path of like Taunton River of like the old King Philip path.
King Philip.
And all these major like spots that he would pray to their gods.
Yeah.
There's a lot of structures.
Structures and stuff, yeah, and there could be a lot of markings communicating with the others. So we don't believe structures are just for clan knowledge or anything. We think structures are for teaching.
Prayer areas
Well,
are like sacred.
I think they teach their young, but I also think they use it for one major thing, a food source. I think they create deer traps, deer corrals, things like that. So a deer's coming down a game trail that he's known for 40 years, right? He's like, hey, this is my game trail. And that dude threw a bunch of pile of stuff, right? And deer's like a deer in headlights. He goes, what the heck? Bang! It's over, done. You just get him to stop and think for that half a second. He's dead. So we don't, there's a lot of reasons for structures. Clan markings, point to the water, point to the food source, trapping deer, right? It all makes sense. When I came in big on structures, people would be like, oh, structures aren't scientific, you can't go there. And I'm like, well, what if they need to eat, bro? And then they were like, oh, wait a minute. Because then it becomes such a bigger deal, right? So here's the Reese's. I love the Reese's, right? We only did this like once or twice. But this one is torn like awesome.
From here, here's my truck. And we're on the
Huh?
pathway. Something maybe like
Kind of tore that right open, grabbed right by the corner right here and peeled it down right across. Smell it. Smell familiar?
Yeah.
perfectly like that. Untouched, right? Untouched.
Got that same saliva smell to it.
This one's strong.
It's like, you know,
Oh yeah.
worn down grass.
Yeah, come on. Smell that thing. You smell it? Think of that, right? Crazy, right? It's only a theory again, but I'm like,
It's the same smell you'd get as if your dog licked you, but much stronger. It's that saliva.
and if I dry heave, I know it's poop sand. That helps, right? Then I'll do the peanut butter, and I'm going to show you one thing that I wasn't sure about showing you, but I'm going to.
This 4 football fields.
See this?
So
Here's the stick
I
here.
laid it down, right? Hey,
There's 3 marks on this one
it's Sharon.
that you can see. See the heel of this stick? Right here? See how it's like it's kind of pushed in like that spoon? This is only one sample, but so what I thought it was a little. Right? And there's markings in here that match the heel of the stick. See that? Isn't that wild? Crazy, right? See, it matches. Like if I can go in here right now without even touching the peanut butter and fit that right into a slot. I've done it a few times.
How many times have you reproduced this with the peanut butter and the stick?
Probably up over 100 to 150 jars, probably.
And each time you found the stick to be used?
Well, until you put Vagabond on them, and now they wash them out like fine crystal and screw us over. They adapted to us. They really did. The first time we came back, twice we came back. Once this one had the hair on it, and the other time it was rolled in leaves. It's completely covered. I couldn't get anything off it but leaves, and if I pulled the leaves off, it would have pulled the fingerprints off. I'm like, you son of a bitch. And then they cleaned it like crystal, and I hung it up on the cliff like this.
I also support what you were saying about, like, if you bring people around that believe, I feel like you have a stronger pull towards them. Because I've brought people that don't believe at all, and that feeling you have of it, like, just presence is gone. And then you have the right group.
It's about energy, bro. And you're right on with that. And I know exactly what you're getting. And I tell everybody.
You go to the same spot and have no energy that night.
Yep.
Just feel it's dead.
Well, we're all energy.
Yeah.
And everything is energy. And my belief is it's a primitive human on a higher frequency. So if you have a psychic or medium you go see, she has abilities because they have a higher frequency of energy, right? Well, these dudes could be even on a higher frequency, right? So they have different abilities. I've seen self-illuminating eyes. Like, how does that freaking happen? There's nothing in nature that has that, right? They use infrasound. Giraffes use infrasound. Hippos use infrasound. Why can't this dude use infrasound? I've been hit with infrasound zapped twice, they call it. 3 to 4 days in bed, no moving, no nothing. Only time I had to go to the doctor and get blood the first time it happened. You're totally normal. Come back home. He's freaking out. He's calling the vocals. They're all the Bigfoot people are getting together. Like, yeah, dude, those are the symptoms of being zapped. I'm like, yeah, okay, you freaking weirdos. Boom, 3 days. It was right when it ran by us. And then I go back out, ran by us again, and it happened both those times. 3 to 4 days, almost timing wise, to the T. Some say that. I mean, I look at it like this. People are abducted. Why can't they do it? That's where I'm at. I'm not thinking that they're working for another planet. You know what I mean? I'm not there. I'm not saying it's not plausible or possible. I'm just not there. Huge Native Americans. Huge. All your structures and things like that you see, Native Americans were huge on that. A lot of trees you go see, and it's funny, I was yelling this out a while back when I first came in, and yeah, kid, you're doing great. I'd be like, look, there's a knot down here that doesn't belong there. That was broken, and then it grew. And they're like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? But sure enough, you follow the tree up, and you can tell where it was broken as it got older. And then it's unbreakable, right? At that point, it grows. You know, unless it's a big boy and you go like that. I have a 360 twist on my head. Yeah, they're probably more like this. Yeah. So I have a 360 twist on right on the edge of my game truck. I've seen one and I've never seen another one. And we found an interlocking X. So you have two trees. This X goes in the front, this X goes in the back, right? And same vice versa. To make the X. It's called an interlocking X. In 10 years, I've only seen 2.
Wait, still growing or broken down?
No, it's broken, but it's an interlocking. It's like when you go to move and you fold the cardboard cover so something doesn't fall out. You have to do that weird little thing. You always screw up the first thing. That's stupid. Jesus, you know. That's what it's like. They interlock. And when you find interlocking, you're gonna have to find these.
Yeah, it's just
Mother Nature ain't interlocking shit.
As if you were like starting a teepee.
Yeah, I get, dude. I'm telling you, if you find that interlocking, you're onto something. Stay there. Stay there. What I do when I find a new structure, this is what I do. There's more. There's 100% more. Very rarely have I don't think I've ever found one structure.
How long have you been doing this?
I was quiet for 8 years. I've been doing now my podcast, well, just under 10. Yeah.
So like almost 20 now?
No, but just under 10. Well, you know what's funny is, it's funny you say that. I just had this conversation. There were things going on before I classified myself as
a believer.
As Bigfoot, right? Before that, I had my kids. I got pictures of my kids, right? 21, 19, 13. I have 7 kids. That's different subject. But I had them out in the woods dressed as superheroes, and we were going to get the monster. They have that story. My kids tell me that story. So I'm like, so even then, I was hearing things, and you know what I'm saying? So, but as a researcher, somebody who really started researching, just 12 out of 10 years.
You're basically in a haunted house.
Hogmont's over this way, but there is parts of it where I am.
You're in the area.
100%. Very active.
Many thousands of years.
And many things. I got EVPs right out my backyard. I did a collaboration with a paranormal investigator. Hey, Rob, what happened? Oh, everybody's like, I'm gonna say bye. Oh my God. Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Oh, who's that? Sparky still here? Oh, I got him talking now. Stickler, but a giraffe doesn't. It doesn't matter if they use it or not. They have it, Ronald. Good job though, buddy. Grab me some pizza, you clown. Hey, I'm gonna sign off, everybody. Keep climbing. Watch the YouTube live tonight. I'm going out in the woods. I gotta charge this battery.
Yeah. Charge that battery.
Andy wore it down. I think he had his face on it too long. All right. I'll see you guys.
Boom.
What?
We are home.
What?
Boom.
Go.
Yes, that's right. We are home of the boom. Let's go.
Slow, man.
Oh, no, you turn it the wrong way, you moron.
Go ahead, what? Say bye, everybody.
So,
Call them on, baby. We'll see ya.